McCLUE, welcome, 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 I say. Wednesday evening, show number 93. How amazing is that? Let everybody know, tell 10 to tell 10 to tell 10 to tell 10, that Scottie McClue is live with the internet phone in on the YouTube channel. Scottie McClue, the internet phone in. Not too complicated, that, is it? Marvelous stuff. So get yourselves on there as soon as you possibly can, and let's hear from you. Scottie McClue, the internet phone in. Now, your job tonight is to ensure that you are subscribed to the YouTube channel. So the whole show is about you subscribing to the Scottie McClue YouTube channel. And we also want to hear everything that you've got to say. So it's the internet phone in. How amazing is that? Dinky-Doo. Dinky-Doo, Scottie. Dinky-Doo. Dinky-Doo, Kath. How lovely to have you with us. Dinky-Doo, Kichin. Kichin. How lovely to have you with us. Dinky-Doo, Scottie, and everyone. Kareem. Dinky-Doo to you. Dinky-Doo, Scottie, says Professor Numpty Heed. Good for you, Numpty Heed. Now, Numpty Heed, do you appear at the start and disappear? Or are you with us throughout the whole thing? We should be told. Fantastic. Right. I think the phones are up and running. So if anybody's feeling like coming on, that's fantastic. Eugene says, I am subscribed. You're live on Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
DINKY-DOO, it's Kareem,
Oh,
Scottie.
Kareem, how amazing are you? What about that? You've beaten Martin tonight.
Oh dear, well, I'm sure he'll get me tomorrow night.
There's Lila saying, was ist dein Lieblingsfasche? I say to you, nicht Deutscher sprechen, ich bin ein Ausländerliebchen. Yes, nicht verstehen.
Did you get your heating fixed, Scottie?
Well, yes, the lovely, lovely engineer came and he said he's going to go and check. It can be one of two things, and he will fix it full time, but he reset it again and everything. They can do these things, stuff I don't understand, but it's so good. It's amazing how dependent we are on the heat, Kareem.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I mean, last night it was the double downies. So into Bobo's, big downy over me up to the chin, and then another one on top.
All right.
And then, of course, you wake in the middle of the night going, whoo, it's warm in here.
Well, last night, Scottie, was it last night? It was last night. I actually, it's a bit revealing, but I had to sleep in the bus. I'm not under the covers. It was that warm in the house.
It was so hot. That can happen as well. You can almost in the winter, if you get your heating wrong, you can have a headache with the heat on the coldest night of the year.
Right.
When I used to go, I toured for 4 years, Kareem. So I stayed in hotels and B&Bs, depending on where we were. The quality of the hotel or the B&B, they were pretty good. But sometimes a London hotel, when you were a young person and I had very little heating on in the flat, you know, and in the Maryhill flat, very little heating on, couldn't really afford it. If you're staying in a London hotel, sometimes during the night you had to get up and have a drink of water because you were just so hot.
Dehydrated, totally.
Yeah, you thought, oh, it's hot in here. And of course you get headaches and things like that. See, my father was amazing. He wouldn't have central heating because he said it was bad for the furniture.
Right. Wow.
And he had a point because, to be honest with you, if you've got antique furniture, you could split it with the heat. So you could have a panel on a beautiful cabinet, a Georgian cabinet or something, and it could be too close to a radiator, and then you might hear a bang one night, and that panel, which has survived for 250 years, splits right down the middle.
That's good.
And your piece of furniture has lost some serious value.
Yeah. Mind you, I would find a place for the antique stuff, maybe up the attic or something.
Yeah, somewhere out the road. Well, they used to say, Kareem, about great country houses were actually being better furnished all the time. Because what happened when something went out of fashion, say it was a piece of Louis XIV, people said, oh, that's no longer in fashion. We're Georgians now. So you had Georgian furniture. So the Louis XIV was put in the attic.
Right.
Yeah, and you had your Georgian furniture. Then in came the Victorians. Oh, you don't have all that old Georgian stuff. You need lovely Victorian chaise longue and what have you. So you had the heavy Victorian stuff. Now, in the 60s and 70s, a lot of that Victorian stuff had worn out. So somebody would say, we need to replace this suite. And they'll say, well, there's stuff in the attic. I'll go up and have a look. Of course, you would bring down something Georgian of the Louis XIV. So your drawing room in your grand house became better furnished.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Scottie, are we today, I think, having a wee quick read through, if you've seen the latest polls for independence,
yes,
the voting intentions is now 55%.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. And I saw some MP up in his hind legs going on about the people of Scotland have spoken. They made a decision in 2014. I thought, yes, but we didn't have Brexit then. You know?
They're terrified. They're absolutely terrified of the outcome.
Well, I'm not surprised, Kareem, because if Scotland does go, Westminster will struggle with its balance of payments.
Yes. Yeah.
And all the whoppers that have been told over the years will come tumbling out.
Yeah. There was, before you were on, Scottie, it was an independence group, and I won't name what one, but they were doing a live talk show, so there was about 6 of them, and obviously just watching it and hearing them talk to each other. So I put a comment underneath, because we're talking about, and I think it's pretty good, they're coming up with strategies and tactics, and as you know yourself, Scottie, in the 2014 referendum, and you've said it yourself, pensioners being told you're going to lose your pension if you vote independence.
Yes.
You know, and on top of that, I left a comment, which I think nobody's got back to me yet, but I'm sure someone will write something. And I wrote down, this is fantastic that we're coming up with all this debate tactics. But I said, we need clarification or reassurances about the monarchy.
Yeah.
I said, if you want to convince the other 50%, you're going to need to have that. And if you don't, and if there's any issues with that, then chances are we can say goodbye to independence.
Good man, Kareem, because they'll come back during that and do their not now. We don't want these freeloaders and just a lot of non-factual nonsense.
Yeah. Well, if they were coming up with strategies and thinking serious, that's going to be a question. Now, if I was in the no side, Scottie, and I don't care what happens to Scotland as long as we stay with the Union, if I was to be tactical, that would be something I would be going into overdrive for.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
The Union,
yes.
the monarchy.
Yes.
You would win so many votes over that way if people believe that.
The actual bottom line is what they need to do is shut up about the monarchy completely and leave the status quo. I had a guy the other day, I'm not really a status quo man. I thought it doesn't matter what you are. We're talking about something much bigger here. You know, you can be anything you like, but what you think, this is not you, this is them. What they think in that way is totally unhelpful to independence.
Correct. Yeah.
You know, it's just because people are going to say, no, have you seen the Nationalists? They're just a rabble. Nobody's ever going to give them a country. Whereas if the Nationalists get properly organized and say, we are all very pro-monarchy, Her Majesty is the head of state. We know our First Minister and our MSPs swear allegiance to Her Majesty the Queen. We know that she has ultimate sovereignty. We know that she has graciously granted parliamentary sovereignty, and we have our own parliament. We've never been in such a good position. We say thank you to our head of state, and we get on and say to Westminster, we're going by. And that's what it's going to need if they want independence. Now, trust me, if I thought staying in the Union was better for Scotland, I would push that. You see, where I don't have the sort of allegiance that I probably should have. You know, I'm not going to cling to what's not best for Scotland.
Correct. Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so I would say independence, yes. Economic independence, yes. You know, you've got all that sort of thing, and you know, total control of the financial side of things but under the crown, because the crown is essentially Scottish. People were trying to split hairs with me. I was explaining to them the crown in Scotland's been around for 2,347 years. Ha, 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 ha. Scotland wasn't even around then. I know that, but the crown in Scotland was around then. It was the ancient Celtic kings. And the first one we can go back to easily is Ree, which is really just Celtic for, or Latin for royal, Ree. You see, like Rex is the king and Regina is the queen. You know, so you've got all that sort of thing. So if you go to Ree and then you start going back as far as you can to Ree's ancestry, you'll get pretty close to 2,347 years. If you just want to go to modern Scotland, the 900s, Kenneth MacAlpin, Dun Ad. Dun just means fort. So Fort Ad at the River Ad in Argyll at Kilmartin, just outside Loch Gilpid. You can climb that. I would advise it in a summer's day. And up at the top was a plaque to where Kenneth MacAlpin was crowned for Dalriada, which was the kingdom of Argyll. So Scotland then had several small kingdoms. And Strathclyde was another one. You see, so you would have a king of Strathclyde. Oh, it's fantastic. I mean, Kareem, when you get into this stuff, I had a top journalist belittling me. And I said, have you still, he said, oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I said, have you still not looked it up? Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Do you know what I mean? And this guy's a top academic. And I said, if you've got access to research facilities, you know, which of course he knows fine he has, look into it and then come back and poo-poo me. You know, but just remember that McCLUE knows what he's talking about. I had to tell a guy tonight, 50 years of proper research, international affairs, the monarchy, leadership, economics, proper research, a couple of degrees, an IQ of 164. Now, this isn't me boasting. This is just explaining. This is where my knowledge comes from, plus about 70,000 hours of live debate on television, radio, and online, and in the press.
You're certainly qualified for it, Scottie.
You know, so I mean, this is not in any way blowing trumpets, Kareem. This is just saying this is what I can offer.
Yes.
And then along comes the halfwit that poo-poos it. Rubbish.
The experts, the keyboard warriors.
The keyboard warriors, because they don't want to acknowledge what's out there. I love acknowledging what's out there. I love acknowledging these top journalists. They used to actually sell the papers. You would say, Kareem writes on a Monday night in the Citizen, so I'm going to go and buy it. Yeah, it'll be brilliant. Oh, fantastic. What are you laughing at? I'm laughing at this wonderful piece. This guy there. Yeah, you go, Kareem. Great journalist. Wonderful writer. Always worth a read. And I think nowadays we haven't quite substituted that level. So it's quite difficult to go online and see pieces of very high caliber writing because these people are not being paid the salaries they're due. They're begging for, excuse me, could you put 5 pence in? Could you put 25 pence a week into what we're writing so we can try and maintain quality? Now, these guys used to get paid off the back of everybody paying something like, I don't know, 50 pence a day to buy a broadsheet paper. Take it home and read it. So it was ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching into the editorial. And then the whole thing just fell apart. People didn't have the time or the leisure time. You used to borrow people's papers. When we were in school, you would see one of the senior masters come in. He would go, morning, class. Is Mr. McCLUE in? He'd say, he's just gone next door to see Miss so-and-so. So, right. Well, when he comes in, can you tell him I've pinched his Herald? Or I've pinched his Scotsman? And they would go away and have a read of that because part of being a quality school teacher was that you knew what was going on. Kareem, I can't hear a word you're saying. I think you must be off mic.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, that's better.
Yep.
Losing you again?
Oh, it's disappearing.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I'll phone back later, Scottie. I'll try and phone back later.
No, you're all right. We can hear a bit if you're on.
Yep, can you hear just now? Is that
Yeah,
better?
yeah, go for it.
No, I was just that if you look at a lot of these newspaper groups, their sales have actually declined print.
No, Kareem, it's breaking up. I can't hear you, La. I'm so sorry.
I'll phone you back.
Give us a wee call back anytime. It'd be lovely.
Bye-bye.
DINKY-DOO. Sorry about that. Kareem breaking up there. No point in wasting your time, his time, and everybody else's time if we can't actually hear. Scottie, your claim that Scotland's subsidising the rest of the UK is nonsense and not backed up with any facts. Scotland benefits from being in the UK through the Barnett formula. Right, Danny, let me give you the Barnett formula and you can tell me if you think my claim's rubbish. Okay? You're live with Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
Hello, Scotland man, it's Martin.
Martin, my boy, how are you?
I'm very, very well. How are things? Are you good?
Things are wonderful, Martin. This phone in is outstanding.
How many viewers have you got now?
How many viewers have we got now? Well, last night when I came off the TikTok, I think we're looking at a couple of thousand. So not bad.
Cool.
Yep, and then during the day we get maybe 100 or 2 on here.
Yes, so I can't believe it's the 1st of December today, almost here, 24 days to go.
24 days to go. Martin, if you're into Scottie McCLUE, just today I discovered a podcast. So there you are. So there's a new podcast out, and it's a site called Radio Essentials.
Is it? Wow.
Yes. So if you go on to radioessentials.com, you should see the Scottie McCLUE podcast.
Wow, lovely.
Talking to a wonderful guy, a real radio person.
Wow.
And you'll get an hour's quality chat.
Cool.
There you go. Now, what about that?
Great, yeah.
Aye, so that's just new today.
Yeah. Shout out to Susan, David, Kareem,
Susan, David, Kareem, Jack, Martin. Oh no, that's you. Suzanne.
Suzanne as well.
Suzanne, Jerry. What about Jerry?
Jerry as well. Jerry's done good, aye.
We like to shout out to Jerry as well. Fantastic. Can everybody share this now? There should be an arrow on the YouTube to share this broadcast with all your followers. Yeah. I don't know. Can you see it, Martin? Can you see it on your YouTube?
Yes. Could everyone share Scottie McCLUE's channel, please?
Fantastic. Can you see a little arrow down at the bottom there?
Yes.
Yeah. I think it's more over to the right.
Yes, I saw it.
And if we can click on that and just share it, you know, it always helps.
Yes, I know. It's good.
It's wonderful. And how are you keeping? Are you well?
I'm very well. It's very, very cold today. It's absolutely freezing.
Very cold, but I was so glad the heating man popped in.
Nice.
Very nice. How's Emma keeping?
Say hi, Emma. Hi, Scottie.
Hi, Emma. You all right, La?
Yeah.
Good. She's sounding a wee bit down. Is she fed up?
No, she's cold.
She's just a wee bit cold. Well, you two get wrapped up. Give each other a big hug.
I will. And I am still doing my Christmas shopping. I've still got a lot more to get.
Martin, you had 175 presents the other day.
Tomorrow I'm going food shopping tomorrow. I am going to buy stuffing, chapelatas, pig and blankets, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, carrots, a lot.
Wow, you're a bit early. Will all of it freeze?
Yes.
Good. And then you can get started because you've still got another, 23 days.
Yes, I know, but we can't wait.
Oh, I know. It sounds gorgeous. You're making me hungry. I'm going now. I'll catch you up later.
Okay, Scottie.
Lots of love.
Love you.
Dinky-Doo, love you too, la. There we are. Now, Magnus says, thanks for cheering me up. Just watched the Trump interview on GB News. Magnus, it's a cracker, isn't it? Was that the one with Nigel Farage? There we are. Video quality is so much better on TikTok. Thank you, Lee. TikTokers, we need to see what you're saying here, or you'll be getting fed up. There we are. Let's have a chat about the TikTok. The beacon of light and knowledge in an otherwise bleak world, Mr. McClue. How do you do? Kirby the Annihilator. Oi, what we on about, says Bikero. Listen and find out, I say. Hi, Scottie Dinky-Doo. Well said, Scottie. They took all our money from the oil years ago. They did, David. We don't want us to split up. Why not? Rule Britannia or cruel Britannia? You're live on Scotty's phone in. Who's that?
It's David. How are you, son?
Oh, David, listen, you've become a star. I've uploaded 4 of your calls last night. Well, your call split into 4.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's amazing.
It's all uploaded. I had to take out your naughty word.
That is so right. I don't often say naughty.
No, I know you don't, my dear man. That's why we kept you on. It slipped out.
Might I say to you, don't cut me off.
No, don't keep us on. Keep us on. So I took it out because I didn't want to get banned, if you know what I mean.
Aye. But see, sometimes, see real life, like your real life, I'm real life, you know, they can say things and people should not get really like offended.
Oh, no, they shouldn't. But the problem is we've unfortunately got rules and regs on the platforms, and I don't want to push it until they really get to know me and say, no, McClue's all right. He'll know put a foot wrong. So it's just from that point of view. But I don't like to see it on social media because I think it belittles somebody's post. But I'm like you. I mean, you know, the odd word. I mean, it can be very funny as well.
Aye, but I said a naughty word, maybe was it again last week. I said something like the A, the R, the S, the H, the O.
Yes. You came out with something like that, you know. But I mean, there it goes. You know, I mean, it's the language of the ordinary people. They used to say about Scottie McClue, the language of the street flows untrammeled. And I think that was one of the great strengths of Scottie McClue's phone-ins, was we were just talking as proper people.
Oh, I know, son. I mean, as I said last night, I know your star's coming soon, but we've still not got a date for the star, but I know they're coming.
No, it's all good to come. Listen, this is all kicking off, and David, you and John would enjoy this podcast that came out today. It's international. And it's called radioessentials.com.
Right.
And if you go on to Radio Essentials, you'll see the podcast. And it just came out today. And I think it's 52 minutes.
Scottie, I'm a bit backward. What is a podcast? Can you teach me?
Well, a podcast, yes, of course I can. I mean, I've often said what's different about it from what we do. But a podcast is usually audio. So it's the voice. And it's, say you and I chatted for an hour and I go, but what do you feel about that, Davey? I mean, honestly. You said, I feel this, Scottie.
I'm going to get into John's room. Hold on. I'm getting into John's room. John, do you know what a podcast means?
Yes, John knows.
Right. John, it's audio. Right, he knows that.
It's audio. And what you would do is we would talk, and then you would talk over, you know, one of these connections. And then we'd record it and we'd put it up. Davey talks to Scottie. Scottie talks to Davey. And we'd stick it up. People go, I was listening to that, Davey and Scottie. What a very interesting chat. And that's how your podcast goes. So people have got it, David, on demand. Do you see the difference? So rather than go, Scottie and Davey were on at 11 o'clock this morning. I've got my work to go to. I can't hear it. I'll miss it. You say, no, you can go on and look up this in the middle of the night if you want.
That's brilliant.
So it's audio on demand.
Yeah, right. Brilliant.
And then you could say to John, you say, what were you doing in the middle of the night, Dave? I could hear voices. And you say, No, I was just through. I was making myself a hot chocolate, and I put on that podcast with me and Scottie,
Brilliant.
and I just listened for an hour. Do you know what I mean? Between 2 and 3 in the morning, then I went back to bed.
It's just a bit like YouTube all over.
Yes, it's that sort of idea, but you probably don't have the vision in a podcast.
Oh, of course, I understand.
See, I love this, though. I mean, I'm a radio man. I would be quite happy just us listening. And one of the platforms you used to just go on and talk, and people would come and join you.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I used to just go on and talk. I would just start. I would say, hello, everyone. Scottie McCLUE here. And they're like, hi, Scottie. How you doing? And people would come and join you. And sometimes we had 30,000 would join us.
Wow.
But the thing, the challenge that we've got right now is there's so much media, Davey. Do you see what I mean? We're up against every radio station, every television station. That's not big competition, you know, but we're after things, we're up against things like Love Island and the Jungle, I'm a Celebrity, and football and all that. Plus, we're up against 1,000 years worth of YouTube listening.
Yeah, amazing. Honestly,
so it's not people don't want to listen. They go, did you hear David? I have no time for them. That's not what they're about. What they're saying is, I never knew that was on. I was listening to a thing about the Second World War. Or I was on catch up watching a drama from Sunday night. What did you do last night between 9 and 10? Did you listen to Davey and Scottie? No, I was watching a drama from Sunday night to catch up. No, I was watching the soap opera from Friday. No, I was watching a program about the Queen from months ago.
Oh, Scottie, can I just say something? That's the cracker.
You can say anything you like, but don't say too naughty a word.
No, I'm not going to. Do you remember I watched the soap Emmerdale this morning early? I woke up early this morning to watch Emmerdale, and Mina was sitting in the pub. Did you know? Did you see it?
Oh, she's such a naughty girl.
She's such a great female heel killer. She's a great female.
She's amazing. I mean, you know, she's sitting there as if butter wouldn't melt. And she's murdered, what, half a dozen folk?
She said to the blonde girl, my friend committed suicide.
I saw that. She was on, oh, I'm so sorry. She's going, no, I was just very, very moved by it and all that. But you see, I'll tell you what's going to happen. Well, I don't know what's going to happen, but you know, the big boy that she's been charming recently. And she's got a hold of him now. He's no daft, right? He's no daft. Now, he fancies Dawn, and he said to Dawn tonight, I will chuck Mina if you say the word. Now, if Mina gets chucked, how do you think she's going to react?
Oh, my goodness.
So somebody else might be getting a bang in the head.
Oh, but I think Dawn might take her out. Not now.
Well, yeah, well, Dawn, I mean, Dawn's not daft. I know she's had her one, but she's no daft.
No, she's not.
And her father's like hanging about. He's no daft either.
No, but I mean, okay, but going in next April, the soap awards, see me in the soap awards next April. That is going to be amazing, the soap awards.
She is, and she's also such a bonny girl, you know what I mean?
And she pulls your faces.
She pulls all these, I know. Oh, I'll tell you, but do you know what I mean? You don't want a bang in the head for that.
Oh, she's a starlet pimp.
Oh my goodness me, I tell you.
I'll better let you go, son.
No, you listen, you're fine, son. But you ever listen, there's 4 calls uploaded to the YouTube channel.
I've seen one this morning,
yeah.
TikTok.
And they're all there, and I've put brilliant call, and just as I say, I had to take out the slightly naughty one, but it's great crack.
Don't worry about it, don't worry about it.
So there you go. So you're a superstar now. You always have been, actually.
Woo!
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 Woo! We'll maybe upload this one as well. Dinky-Doo, Lala.
DINKY-DOO, my son, I love you.
I love you to bits. And Dinky-Doo, Tarala. Woo! That's our Davy. What a guy. There we are. Wow, I'm through now. How dare you? I dare you to phone Alex Belfield. I have phoned Alex Belfield because I was very, 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 very annoyed with Alex Belfield because he had called Scotland Nicky Nacky Newland. So I have actually phoned him. So I wouldn't bother about that. He has been phoned. I can't tell you. You're live on Scottie's phone in. Who's that?
Hello, Scottie. It's Pablo. You okay?
Pablo, la, are you Dinky-Doo?
I'm not too bad. A little bit better. Had a bit of a rubbish start to the morning with the cold.
Yeah, you've had a tough day. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but as the days got on, I feel a bit better. Had some food and that, you know. So
Absolutely. Good for you.
Scottie, how am I sounding? Because I've got you on loudspeaker.
Wonderful. Dinky-Doo, everybody.
That's good then. Right, got a joke for you now, Scottie.
Now listen, tell me this, Pablo. You've got me on loudspeaker. You've obviously got it exactly right. There's no feedback or anything. So who can hear everybody in the house?
Well, you know, I've got you on loudspeaker, Scottie. I normally phone you with the headset on.
Right. Well, you're sounding amazingly clear. There's no feedback. And if you can hear me as clear as a bell, this is brilliant.
This is brilliant because other people might be able to do it so other people can hear it now. So
yeah, this technology that we've got going here is huge. The potential is huge. The only thing we need to do, Pablo, is let everybody know it's on.
Well, that's what we've got to keep doing. You had some big numbers yesterday on the YouTube, Scott. I think it was about 31, 32 at one time.
Yeah, we had some very good numbers on there, but we want to get into the hundreds and thousands.
Yeah, I think we'll slowly get there. I think once you get up to like 80, 100.
Yeah, but I need everybody subscribing, Pablo. You know, there's too many people go, yeah, I'll just watch it. I'll not bother subscribing. That's no help to them. Because if they subscribe, they can get their notifications when the phone ends on. Then you'll never have anybody going, oh, God, I missed Scottie McCLUE tonight, and I like that.
Well, that's it. Yeah, then they click the bell, it gives you the notification.
You see, have you heard the phone in? You go, I missed it the other night, Scottie.
That's it, mate. But you know what, Scottie? It sounds like real radio when you're on the phone to you now coming through the loudspeaker.
Oh, brilliant. I love it. So we've recreated the Scottie McCLUE show on the radio.
That's how it feels, Scottie. It feels like just like that.
Pablo, that's music to my ears, if you'll pardon, or speech to my ears. I thank you. And if I can send you in the direction of radioessentials.com, you'll get the podcast that just came out today.
Yeah, what's that, Scottie?
Well, this was a podcast from one of the top podcasters who has different guests on, and he chose Scottie McCLUE for December, and it came out today, and I've listened to a bit of it, and it really is incredible. He's a very, very good interviewer.
Nice. Because you did the podcasting before. This is like video. It's called vlogging.
This is vlogging to an extent, yes. And I mean, I don't really see the difference between this and a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I think if somebody's into Scottie McCLUE, they'll find you eventually, and then they can get on with their night. So you could have this on in the background, and you could be away doing a bit of dusting or anything.
Well, that's it. Well, Scottie, I fell upon one of your videos, not that you uploaded, someone else uploaded, and everyone was saying Scottie's back on the radio, Scottie's back on YouTube. You'd be surprised.
That's interesting, isn't it? Yeah, the word gets round. We just need that big push. I'll tell you what would be tremendous. If somebody who's got a huge following lets their lot know, that makes such a difference.
Absolutely, Scottie.
I mean, I remember coming down one Saturday morning and 100,000 people had appeared overnight.
Yeah.
And I thought, that can't be right. There must be some mistake. And what it was is some guy had shared it across a platform.
Yeah.
And people had gone, hey, Scottie McCLUE's on.
That's campaigning, or another thing you want to do, Scotty. I know a guy who was campaigning a while ago. What he did, I know Twitter's not as big as it used to be, but he do get people doing tweets at the same time, like Scotty McCLUE, say for example, Scotty McCLUE going live in 5 or whatever, blah blah blah. And if everyone did it at the same time, it'd appear in everybody's kind of news feed.
This is what we need. You see, I'm also on Twitter at Scottie McCLUE, and we need to get everybody following on there, and then I can keep people up to date. I also think we used to go live on Periscope, and then that went on to Twitter. Now that bit's gone, I think. So I'm wanting to know if it's possible to get onto a new live on Twitter.
On Twitter, I'm not too sure about that. What about Twitch, Scotty? Did you give up the Twitch?
Well, I gave it up at the moment because I wanted to concentrate on YouTube. YouTube is the biggie, but we just need everybody subscribing. Yeah. So when I go off at night, there should have been another 20 subscribers. Do you know what I mean?
Definitely. I think people think that these other platforms are going to take over, but what they've got to remember, YouTube has been here since day one.
Brilliant.
It'll take a lot to replace
YouTube. You won't actually, and YouTube's an absolute cracker. People love it, and I'm loving TikTok.
Especially with the kids. The kids are loving that one.
Ah, it's fantastic. I mean, the people that say to me, hey, saw you on TikTok. What about this one? Connor says, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, the Celtic coalition. Let's make it happen. That would be powerful, I'll tell you. Thank you for my beautiful gift box, Kelly Hall. A big shout out to my better half, Derek. He's going through lots of My teachers used to sit in the bog with the Daily Star. Have you ever been to Tyree? I haven't been to Tyree. I was invited to go to Tyree, but I didn't manage to get there. But apparently you don't have any trees. But you've got a wonderful, wonderful high school. I got a new job today. I'm fair pleased, says Kelly. I hate modern media, says Gucci. Not at all, Gucci. This is where it's at. This is wonderful. You're welcome, buddy. Thank you, Kelly. You're very, very kind. Pablo, I hope you don't mind. I had to I'm multitasking here.
No, Scotty, I'm learning with you now. I know when you're actually doing it well. As where I did it a few phone calls ago, so I was always putting in, but now I know when you queue for reading.
Yeah, so what I'm doing is I've got you on, which is beautiful. You and I are getting a chat, and just every so often we read out what's happening on the chat or on the TikTok.
I think you have to do it, Scotty, because it's very important, and I'll tell you why, because in the past I've done a bit of gaming, like Twitching, and if the people are typing and you're not responding to them, they don't feel a part of the show as well.
They don't feel part of it. And I think if somebody's taking the trouble to type, we should actually be saying, see, here's Connor saying, set up a Twitch, Scotty. Now, Connor, we have a Twitch, and you'll get it at Scottie_McClue. So I would get onto that. Gemma says, I dare you to phone Alex Belfield. Is that Gemma? I dare you to phone Alex Belfield. Hang on a minute. Yes, Gemma says, I dare you to phone Alex Belfield. Well, I have phoned him. Tell him you want to be on his open act in Blackpool with him and Katie Hopkins. Oh, my goodness me. Scotty, have you ever thought of Scottie McCLUE USB flash drive? I haven't, Eddie. What's involved in all that? I have an idea. Suzanne, how's the tree looking? Is it at the front room window? I've still not got mine out of the loft.
It's only the 1st of December today, Scotty.
Absolutely. There's Corlerio going, who's this Alex Belfield? Alex Belfield is a very famous broadcaster who uses a lot of Scottie McCLUEisms in his chat. And he's massive on YouTube. He's got 350,000, over 350,000 subscribers.
That's plenty. He doesn't need any more.
It doesn't, does he? Charlie Johnson says, get Alex Belfield to subscribe and share Scottie. Well, he might do that, actually, because that would be good.
Yep, absolutely.
What about this one? Kelly Hall says, I can't put my tree up. My parrots rip it to bits. And there's Calons, who says, up the Royal Artillery. It's obviously a British soldier.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So I've got a joke for you there, Scotty.
Go on, Pablo. I'd love it.
Right. Who would win in a great British bake-off between a darts player and a snooker player?
Go on.
Of course, a darts player, because he would be clever enough to preheat his oven at 180.
180. We love it. And listen to this. Here's Just 3. He says, hello, Scottie DINKY-DOO from Pablo's son.
Oh, he's watching?
He's watching Just 3.
Oh.
And Calon says, I'm a proud British soldier. So there we are, DINKY-DOO. Well done. Kareem is sending us beautiful TikToks, and he's also sent me GGs, and he's sending weights, mini speakers. Kareem, this is very, very generous. The TikTokers have been so beautiful, Pablo. They send me all these little gifts.
Yeah.
And it all mounts up. Yeah, it all mounts up. It's great. I mean, you know, £1 here, a couple of pounds there. It's just a lovely thing.
I just can't wait to see you, Scottie, with a good headset, right? A real headset, and a good condenser mic. Can't wait to see that. We're not long from seeing that anyway.
No, we're not long. You see, Pablo, who would have thought we'd be on doing this a few weeks ago? Do you know what I mean?
Well, I had a brainwave, Scottie, and I just wish you did it sooner. I wish you said
I wish I had as well, but I had to save up. I had to get some help to buy a new computer because the old one just couldn't cope.
Yeah, they can't. You need a lot of memory and things like that.
Yeah, you need all that stuff. There's Kelly Hall and Leslie Davis sending me beautiful gifts. Guys, thank you so much on TikTok for all your gifts. Kelly sent hand hearts. Leslie's sending me red roses. She's just sent 15 red roses.
Smash them flowers for Scottie. Send them all the flowers.
Beautiful.
He deserves it.
There we are.
But anyway, Scottie, before I go, the topic tonight was, where do you see tradition going in 20 years? Because I'm looking at things now, and this Halloween just gone, I think we had 1 or 2 trick-or-treaters. Okay, we had the pandemic and we had bad weather.
Yeah.
But I also look at little things that I used to do as a kid. I used to do car washing, knocking on doors, car washing. We talked about last night building go-karts and things like that.
That's it.
About carrying bonfire wood. Now, if the kids see someone carrying bonfire wood or something on the back, they won't even know what they're doing.
No.
So where do you see any traditions going in the next 20 years?
I think a lot of traditions might suffer because the kids now, right? I drove past a bus stop last week and all the people waiting on the bus, they were social distancing from each other. So they had a good, 6-8 feet round them. And they were all obsessed with their phones. So nobody was having a conversation with another human being live.
Well, I heard something like, you remember well, you might not remember, but if you've ever been on a bus, you might see a child and he used to look out the window in amazement. People saying now when they get on a bus that there's none of that going on anymore. They're just locked in the phone. And that brings me on to asking you, do you think social media and technology is the way that is causing this drift in traditions?
Yes, I think it is, but we'll see if the technology keeps growing. I mean, I can't complain because that's what's bringing us all together now. And we are having a chat as human beings. And you're down in Salford and I'm up in Scotland.
Yeah.
And we're chatting away as if we're sitting beside each other. I love it.
That's what was happening. Scottie, I was listening to that guy who's proper intelligent. I know he's saying no names, but he's like into space and things like that. And he said we're basically a cyborg because we're connected to the phone like it's a part of us, like an organ. And I think that's very true, Scottie.
Well, if we're not careful, the next thing is people will be transplanting technology into us so that we do have the funny eye that can see all sorts of things. We do have the chip in the brain. So we don't go on our phones. All we do is start thinking of the URL and it'll look it up for us. Now, then you're into interfering with God's work. You're into all sorts of moral questions. You're into who's running the place, the computers or the people?
Well, that's it. That's the next step in it, Scottie. The AI, I think it's called something.
AI, artificial intelligence. There's Professor Nupty. It says the youth of today are too busy throwing bricks through bus windows. I don't agree with him.
Well, it's happening, Scotty. I mean, the snow was out here the other day. I know kids being kids. I've been a kid and I did stupid things, but it's like just getting snowballs and throwing it at the park bus. You know.
Yeah.
There's got to be better things out there, Scotty. But,
yeah, I think you've got to be careful because being a driver, it couldn't be good. There could be a pebble in that. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, there could be a stone in that, but I think it also comes down to we've hit the nail on the head. We believe that technology is keeping the children in, but also the funding, Scotty. When I was a kid, there was lots of community centres we could go to. There was people on the street talking to the
Yeah, they're not bothered now. The kid would rather stay in the house with the parents, not talk to the parents, just go on their phone.
Yeah, Scott, you know what? Sometimes I even say that to my partner, let's put the phone down for a bit. Because before you know it, it's like this domino effect.
Yeah, you're all on your phone. See, your kids are on the phone, your partner's on the phone, you're on your phone, and nobody's talking. And the only thing we're saying to each other is, do you want a cup of tea, love? You know, so that's not enough to actually stimulate somebody's brain with your chat.
No, it's not.
Do you want a cup of tea, love? Do you want to go up to bed? I think I'll push off. Is that all right? And I'll see you. Yeah, I'll stick everything off here and I'll join you.
That's right, Scotty. And then what happens, because I'm a bugger to it. I'll go to bed. Sometimes I'll turn over and put something on my phone to watch.
Kelly says, my kids' social media limited. I don't take my phone to work. The technology is a double-edged sword, says A Walk with Nature. 100% correct, A Walk with Nature. And what I think, Pablo, is you feel like saying, does anybody want to come round to mine on Saturday and go on the phones?
Scotty, it gets worse than that. I mean, even when I was going out to the club with a few of my friends, they could never put the phone down. They might as well not gone out.
No, I know it's a bit like that. You feel like taking it off them.
Well, Scotty, what happened, right? A few years ago, I didn't have a mobile phone, and people looked at me like a madman, right? I wasn't interested in a mobile phone. The only reason I got one is because I got with my partner, and I thought, instead of having like a tablet or something like that, and if I need hospital appointments, blah blah blah, I've got a number. But I felt more connected to the world than I do now, Scotty. I feel like a disconnect. Even though we're speaking, I feel like I'm so wrapped up in this, and all the people are around me that I won't say I've lost my ways, but I think I was more in tune with nature.
Yeah,
just things
absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I was obviously brought up with dogs, 29 years, two beautiful black Labradors. But little Clyde latterly used to nuzzle the phone and shove it with his nose as if to say, get off that.
Yeah.
And I'd be patting him with the other hand. I'd be on the phone and I'd be stroking him. And then when I stopped stroking and went to the phone, he'd take his nose to the phone. Get off that.
That's amazing. It's amazing how clever a dog is, Scotty, as well. When you say you're daft as a dog or the dog is stupid.
No, genius. Genius. Absolutely genius. Yeah. I think social media has played a part in the sad breakdown of society, says Kitty. Kitty, the question is, though, has society broken down? Or is it just changing? What about Kevin Cracknell here? He says, love you, and there's nothing you can do about it. Now, that's a McCLUEism that I think Alex Belfield uses.
Well, yeah, you're a genius at work, Scotty. Some of the stuff that you say and come out with them one-liners or two-liners, it's like, did you really think that up yourself, Scotty? Amazing.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, I mean, all that stuff is McCLUE's material over the years.
Especially that DINKY-DOO. Is it not an actual word, Scotty?
No, it's not an actual word. It's popped up a couple of times. There was a group called the DINKY-DOOs, I think, in what was his name? John Boynton Priestley, J.B. Priestley, the Good Companions. I think there might have been a DINKY-DOO popped up in that. There was a DINKY-DOO with George Formby. But I'd never heard any of that, and I came up with it, and I now hold the world trademark on it. So if anybody's called the business DINKY-DOO, they should by rights be paying Scottie McCLUE.
It's amazing word, because it can mean anything, Scottie. You put your own twist on it.
Well, I say it just means it's all well with you and the world. And a lot of people, even the name Scottie McCLUE, which is massive, 2 billion people have heard of Scottie McCLUE, But if people say, do you listen to Scottie McClue? They go, who? And they go, Dinky-Doo. Oh, Dinky-Doo. Oh, I like him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they
no,
actually know Dinky-Doo probably better than Scottie McClue.
Well, you've done something there with your name and the way you've got that slogan. It's got like hand in hand. But Scotty, a quick question because I don't want to take too much time.
Go on, love. I know I'll need to go, but fantastic.
Yeah, your radio name, now you said it's Scottie McClue. Where did you get it from, Scotty, and why?
Scottie McClue, well, because when I went to Preston, it was a Scotsman, so Scottie was easier. And McClue, obviously, because we had a clue.
Right. Decent. So that's sorted that out. I always wanted to know that one anyway, Scotty. Right, I'll go, mate, and let someone jump on.
Love you lots, and Dinky-Doo. Top man. That's our Pablo from Salford. Good night, Scotty, Martin, Emma, Suzanne, Jerry, and Kareem. Sleep well. Susan's off to Bobos. Professor Numpty Head, Castle Milk, bad for it. I don't work there nights in the taxi. Dinky-Doo, answer the call. Well, Mr. Jingles, phone is up. Love you. Absolutely fantastic. Night, everybody. Who's this? Hello, you're live on Scotty's phone in. Who's that?
Well, Glenn.
Who is it?
Tyrone, you know.
You've done what?
Sorry?
Hello, you've done what?
I'm Tyrone.
Tyrone.
Yeah, Tyrone.
Lovely to have you, Tyrone. Fantastic. Well done.
See, I'm ringing you for some advice, you know.
Yeah, go on.
You see, my girlfriend kind of, slept with my dad. I don't know what to do about it.
You've what? I'm really not making you out at all, Tyrone. I'm so sorry, but it's just not clear. Guys, to the telephones very, very quickly. Put old Tyrone there. I couldn't really understand a word. Incredible stuff. Good evening, Dinky-Doo, says Scottie McClue. There, you should have that there. It says host. Good evening, Dinky-Doo. I am the host. You're live on Scotty's phone in. Who's that?
I just got to that with a bit weird, wasn't it?
He was a weird one, wasn't he? I couldn't actually understand a word. Something about his dad and his girlfriend.
Well, it's not good, this guy, you know.
It didn't sound too good from his point of view, did it?
Definitely not, no.
How you doing? What about this one, Glenn?
Scottie's dad might be a bit of a tycoon there or something.
Smart dog. A bit of what? Tai Chi, did you say?
He might have got a few pounds or something, you know, like sugar daddy kind of thing.
Yeah, he didn't sound as if his lift went all the way up to the top story.
His sandwich doesn't.
I think he's a sandwich short of a toolbox and a spanner short of a picnic.
Definitely, Scottie. Before I got in touch with you, I know I was just watching the J.R. Hartley advert, you know, from the Yellow Pages.
Oh, yes, I remember that. That was a beauty, that.
Brilliant. When he's ringing up and he's looking for...
Yes, he says, do you have a book by J.R. Hartley? They said, yes, we'll get it. Could you give us your name, please? J.R. Hartley.
Fantastic.
Well, that's the same. I told you I phoned one of the massive newsagent chains to ask if they got a Scottie McClue video.
Oh, yeah.
And the manager said, yeah. He said, just give me a second. He went, I'm pretty sure I have. He went, yep, I've got one here. He said, do you want it? Because I'd advise you to get down here sharp because these don't last, he said, and it's the last one I've got at the moment.
Brilliant.
I said, will you be getting some more in? He went, yeah, but it could be a couple of weeks.
Nice one.
Isn't that lovely? And I thought, woo!
Do you know what you're talking about?
Well, I didn't give him all that, you know what I mean? I just said, can you help us out? I said, have you got a video of Scottie McClue? He said, yes, we do. Let me just check if I've got it in stock. He went, I have, but you need to get down here now.
Kept it on go slow then, Scott.
It's wonderful. And I'll tell you, the last CD was on the internet a few years ago. And I said, there's one left. And this lady bought it right away. She said, there's none left now.
I told you I got one off for eBay, Scottie, a few months ago.
Yeah, you get it. I don't know what you pay, 50p a pound, something like that.
Well, but it's brilliant.
But it doesn't matter. I mean, hopefully, I would say it's a good quid's worth that.
Yeah, definitely. It's well worth it. Is there much of merch on online then, Scottie, or not?
Have you what, Lala?
Is there much for your merchandise online?
No, we don't have any merchandise online at the moment, but who knows what the future might bring? Because this is starting to grow and grow, Glenn.
Yeah, if anything comes up on there, do you look out for it then if you can find anything?
If anything comes up with what, La?
It's mainly video and CD, isn't it?
Video and CD. The video was an audience with Scottie McCLUE, and the CD was the best of Scottie McCLUE.
Yeah, I've got both. Yeah.
And that's got spanner short of a toolbox.
Oh, they're brilliant, aren't they?
Spanner short of a picnic.
Would you expand them with?
Yeah, I mean, I think we will. I mean, I think there's a demand for anything by Scottie McCLUE. I mean, that podcast, Glenn, you might enjoy that. Well, you will enjoy it. It's just come out today, and it's radioessentials.com, and you'll see the podcast. And it's 52 minutes, so you know you can put it on your pods when you're going to work.
I'll have a look.
Yep, it's super guy that was interviewing me right into radio, and he really had done his work, you know. He knew more about Scottie McCLUE than I did, I think.
Would you be looking at downloads then, Scottie, for some old material then, like?
Yeah, well, you can get that on YouTube anyway, but I suppose a lot of people would like to have it for themselves, you know.
Yeah, on CD or DVD or something.
Do you know what I think? Do you know what I think would do well? And I can remember when I went to work and this guy came up, he says, Scottie, can you do us a big favor? He says, can you leave a message on my answer phone for me missus, on my missus' answer phone from here? So he phones on his mobile, and I says to his missus, I said, what's her name? Whatever it was, Janet or something, right? I says, hello, Janet, love. I said, it's Scottie McCLUE here. I said, now, I'm just phoning. Your man's coming in about 6:30 tonight. And I was just making sure there'll be a nice bit of steak pie on the table, a few potatoes, a couple of roasties, that sort of stuff. And make sure you feed him up, love, and that you look after him. And I hope you're keeping the house tidy and doing the high dusting. Well, he's stuffing hankies in his mouth, listening to me, giving it all that. Right? The next thing is, he comes in the next day, he goes, oh, he says, wife, he says, what a laugh. He says, she's loving it. I said, was it funny? He went, oh, it was funny. Right, so that's that. He says, she's a big fan, by the way. So that was it. Then up comes another guy, says, I heard what you did for John. He said, can you do the same for me? Yeah. So we were leaving a message for everybody's missus telling her to get on with dusting the house.
Who needs Tom Jones or Julio Iglesias or anybody like that? They've got... The ladies have got Scottie, haven't they?
Scottie McCLUE, absolutely, yes, indeed.
I think you sell yourself a bit short sometimes, Scottie. I think.
Well, maybe a bit, but it doesn't matter, Glenn, because nobody can then accuse me of being too big on it.
I think you just like we said before, what you see is what you get, kind of thing.
What you see is what you get, and we can't really change that, but. We have lasted quite well because we're just about to go into our 30th year.
Yeah,
well, sorry, we're in our 30th year. We're about to go into our 31st in June. So if I make it to June, that's 30 years of Scottie McCLUE in the United Kingdom.
Combine everything what you've done. It's just a credit to you, Scottie.
No, well, it's a credit to you guys because you'll put up with it.
Followed you a long time, yeah, definitely.
You've put up with it. Do you see what I mean? And the figures don't lie, Glenn. That's the lovely thing. When people go, yeah, but who's listening to you? You say 118,000 a half hour.
It's having an affinity to it. It's having a affinity towards you, and it's got to be fair.
It's having a listen and being into the chat, Glenn. Glenn, hang on a minute. I'm going to have to say goodnight to our beautiful TikTokers. Night to all you gorgeous TikTokers. I love you. And there's not a thing you can do about it. DINKY-DOO.
I mean, everything works both ways. The way the fans are, the followers are towards you, you reciprocate that towards them, don't you?
Well, absolutely, because they're beautiful people.
Exactly.
Right now, I'm out of time now. You're going to have to go, and so am I.
Nice one, Scottie.
Love you lots.
Love you, Scottie.
Take great care, Lala. We'll chat soon. There we are. Okay, a big cuppa with a cat by your side. I'm watching in bed, Jerry, says Susan. Excellent, Susan. Guys, we've run out of time. What a fabulous, fabulous show tonight. Thank you for joining us, every single one of you, the viewers, the callers, the lot. Dinky-doo.